Hi, I'm Kevin Orman, the Master of Self-Leadership. Welcome to Leadership U. Today we'll be talking more about how to use leadership skills to write a book in 100 days or less.
Welcome to Leadership U, where it really is all about you.
Now, with last week's video, we talked about how I was able to use leadership skills to go from no book, no idea what the book was going to be, just the decision to make a book, to 100 copies of the book in my hand, selling it live on Amazon and Kindle, and then later taking it to make it a bestseller a few months after that. Now, I haven't done this just once, I've done it again. And so what I did was, let's go a little backstory. So I get the very first proof copy of my first book, and I'm so excited. I'm now a published author. I have this proof copy in my hand, and a paperback, and about an hour later, after this proof copy showed up at my door, I hear this knock 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 on my door, and I open my door, and here's these two little granddaughters that live pretty close to me, 8 and 10 years old at the time, and they come walking in, and so I bring this book out, this proof copy that I've only had about an hour, like a proud papa. I bring this thing out, and I show it to these little girls, and I say to them, now tomorrow when you go to school, you're going to be the only kids in your class whose grandpa is a published author. And I thought that would mean something to them, right? Boy, was I wrong. So what I did was they looked at it, and the older one, she kind of smiles, and she says, is it a kid's book? Well, you know, I said, no, honey, it's not. And then she just kind of went off to whatever else that she wanted to talk about. But after I picked my ego up off the floor, because it was exciting for me. It was cool. I'd never dreamed that I would be a published author prior to that. And so after I picked my ego up off the floor, I thought about what she said, and I thought, what a wonderful idea. And so I went out immediately and checked out a domain name. Now, my first book is called Me Inc., Your Life is Your Business, or Me Incorporated. Me Inc., Your Life is Your Business. And that one, as I mentioned, has been on the bestseller list since January 27th of 2015. It's still on the bestseller list today. And that one isn't a kid's book. That one is more geared toward adults and self-leadership skills and how to make your life really work utilizing these skills, because at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. We want to be happy. We want everything to work in all areas of our life, and this book talks about how to do that. But the second book, what I did was I went out and registered that domain name, and that domain name is minimeinc.com. And so that's the name of the second book, is Mini-Me Inc., What Kids Can't Learn in School. Because the reality is that leadership is not taught in schools. There's a lot of reasons why. First of all, they can't teach what they don't know and don't practice. Number two is it's not measurable classically. Leadership has to be developed. It can't be trained. Therefore, it's not as measurable. I always tell people that leadership is like the wind. If I look out the window and I see trees blowing like I do right now, right here where I'm at, I know the wind's blowing. But am I seeing the wind? Not really. What I'm seeing are the effects of the wind. Leadership works like that because, see, leadership is felt. It's not seen. And so as a result, you have to have a whole different process to develop it. It's experiential, not intellectual. Therefore, it can't be measured easily on tests and so on and so forth. Anybody who tells you that is selling something that doesn't really work. And that's the bottom line, because it can't be easily measured like that. It is something that is felt. Because it's felt, there's no real language for it. It happens in the lower areas of the brain. The amygdala and the limbic systems. Doesn't happen in the prefrontal cortex where you can easily measure and see things. And so as a result, it's not really easily quantifiable and so on. And it takes a lot longer to develop, a lot more effort to make that happen. It really is a lifelong quest. And I think I've mentioned that a couple of times, but it's really important to recognize that, and it's always good to be reminded of that. So at the end of the day, I made that decision then that at some point I was going to write that book because I'd registered the domain name. And then last October, I made the decision that it was time to write that book. 100 days later, I had the book in my hand. It was live on Amazon, it was live on Kindle, and it was a #1 international bestseller, all in 100 days. So I had learned some things in the process from the first book to the second book, because the first book, I just had it published and read and actually selling live in 100 days. The second book, not only was it published selling live, but it was already a #1 international bestseller. And those are the things that you learn. Those are the things that I can teach people. Those are the things that I work with people on. Now, there are a couple of things coming up. Obviously, there are webinars and seminars. I can work with people one-on-one. That's important to recognize, and that's great. And you're certainly welcome. Go to leadershipcrossings.com, and we can get information about webinars and seminars there. You can sign up, and I can help you with that. Or you can just go to kevinorman.com. We can get that information. Send me an email at kevin@kevinorman.com. Just remember to spell it right, CEVINORMOND. And the other thing is that we're working on some leadership cruises. What we'll do is we'll be able to go on a cruise. It'll be a fun thing. It'll be a great thing. It'll be relatively inexpensive. We're looking roughly $1,200, which is not bad that it actually includes the cruise, and Norwegian Cruise Line, so it's a nice cruise line. And we're looking at putting that together here in the next few months as well. That will give people an immersive environment where they can really get this thing going, and I can show you how you set up a project to make this happen, how to go through all the processes to not only get your book out the door, get it published, but also to make it a bestseller. And those are things that are really important because it changes your life. It changed my life. My life absolutely changed in 100 days with both books, and yours will too. So get your book out. If you don't want to work with me, that's great. Find somebody else to work with. I don't care so much about that as I do about that you get that information, you get that out there, you get it ready to go. And you know, of course I'll be happy to help you, but that's the bottom line is do it, and do it now. Do it with somebody. Don't keep thinking about it and die with your music still in you. What a foolish thing. You don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Who wants to die with their music still in them? It's crazy. So get that book out there. Create that legacy. I've got something that my kids and my grandkids, and by the way, that little granddaughter, when I took her copy of Mini-Me Inc., the one that she'd kind of blown off the first book about, that I talked about in the last video. Well, when I took her that copy, she sat down and immediately just started reading page after page after page. She went through like 40 pages without even hardly taking a breath. And I'm thinking, yes, I nailed this thing. I got it right. I hit that market of kids, 8, 10 and up, and their parents and their grandparents, and everybody who's reviewed that book has said the same thing. They've said, this is a super great, wonderful book for kids, and they should all read it. But their parents need it worse, and so their parents really ought to read it with them. And that's what I recommend people do with this book, the second book. So at the end of the day, that's today's lesson for Leadership U. I want you to be encouraged. I want you to understand it'll work for you. It's worked for me. I can help you to make it work if that's what you want. But at the end of the day, get it done somewhere, somehow. And so that's today's Leadership U, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Subscribe here to Leadership U to make sure you get all the videos. Also, you can watch more videos from here, including 2 that I've shown, my speaker reel, and also one I call Leadership Elephants in You. Also from here, you can go ahead and then get to my website to find out more about my speaking, books, and other things. Have a great day. See you on the flip side.